Today I'll show you how to use the official Supabase MCP server with a VS Code AI assistant plugin called Cline. I really like Cline because it gives you a lot of flexibility with what model you want to run. For example, I could use Gemini, or I could use Claude like we're going to do today, or I could use a local model with Ollama if I wanted to experience a lot of slow pain. If you've seen my previous video on Cline, then you'll know that running models locally with Ollama and Cline, it's not exactly realistic at this point in time. However, using Cline with Claude from Anthropic, like we're doing today, is extremely powerful. And my favorite part about it is how it allows you to track the cost of your session. So we're going to be doing that today. And we'll see how much it costs to build a simple desktop generating application with Supabase. And you're going to see just how amazingly easy this is because of the MCP server that Supabase has provided. So let's get started with installing this and then run through the demonstration. And for my NeoVim people, I've been researching a tool called MCP Hub. It's a NeoVim plugin that allows you to work with MCP inside of NeoVim using tools like Avante. So I'm planning on making a video about that one later. When that's available, I'll link to that at the end of this one. I've got a project here, an empty project called Supabase MCP Cline. And what I'm going to do is open up code right here. This is VS Code, and I have Cline installed down here as a plugin. You can just get it from the marketplace. It's really easy. And once you have this little button here is for our databases. So I'm going to click on this for MCP servers, and then I'm going to click on installed. And there's nothing going on here yet. There's no servers installed. So I'm going to click configure MCP servers, and this opens up a file. And check out what this file is. It's kind of in my global, it's a global file. So this is going to persist across all instances, I assume, of Cline running in different areas of my computer. And I've got this Cline MCP settings, and I can install an MCP server here. Here I've got the getting started guide from Supabase for MCP. And down there, they have a section for Cline. I've heard as of time of filming that is not working currently on Windows, but I expect that to be fixed very soon. They have full support for all operating systems. So let me grab this. I'm going to come back to VS Code and paste this in. And now I need a personal access token. So let me generate that. I'm going to go into my Supabase account, and this is my organization here. So I'll go to access tokens. I don't have any because I deleted them. So I'm going to create a new one, and I'll copy it right here, come back to VS Code, and we're going to paste this in. All right, so this is my personal key. Obviously, you'll want to keep this safe when you do this. I'm going to delete this after filming the video. So MCP servers updated, updating MCP servers, and this little button is on. And it looks like this is ready to go. So we can see all the different options that we have. And it looks like it's going to wait for me to do all of these approvals. What I could do is I could say auto approve all tools. Okay, and look at that. That's gone ahead and updated this JSON file. I love JSON as a format. All right, so this is saved and we're ready to get started on our project. So now I'm ready to start actually building our project. So I'm going to click this little plus button, and we've got to select our model. Now I've got Gemma selected here from a previous video I filmed, but we're going to want to use Anthropic, and I'm picking Claude 3.7 Sonnet. I've already got my API key plugged in here, but you'll need that if you haven't done that yet. Create a application for generating desktop wallpapers. Okay, let's give it a shot. Okay, away we go. Now check it out. It says, I'll create a web application using Supabase for backend storage. This is the exact same type of thing we saw from Cursor. And we say, since we're in a directory called Supabase MCP, and there's a Supabase MCP server connected, I should leverage. That's pretty cool. It's explaining its reasoning around using Supabase here. Okay, away we go. So we're starting to create some files and check out our costs. We're currently at almost 10 cents for this job. We can also keep track of our context window. So as this grows outside of the model's limits, then we're gonna know, well, that we're probably gonna start getting errors at that point. All right, so far nothing Supabase-y has happened. We're just creating files, as far as I can tell. However, we are integrating Supabase into these files, but I just haven't seen any evidence of actually using the MCP server yet. It also looks like we're not using any complicated frameworks. A nice simple JavaScript app. I'm a little disappointed that we haven't actually been running any Supabase commands. Let me show that to you. I'm going to go over to Supabase, and I don't have any project. This hasn't even created a project for me yet. So we'll still try and do that, but I might have to prompt it explicitly to set this up. Man, Cline really is comprehensive with their readmes and a license. And this is a part of Cline that blows my mind. It has this browser feature. Check this out. So it's gone ahead and like opened the application in a browser now. But this is what it's gone ahead and created right now for us. Maybe I'm missing some required permissions. Okay, so I'm going to cancel it at this step. So this whole thing cost us 95 cents, and it wasn't able to actually, do our Supabase project. It wasn't able to actually create this as a project. I want to see that here. So let me see if I can prompt it to do that. I want to have this set up as a fully functioning project in Supabase, including storage for the wallpapers that I've generated and a history of all the wallpapers that I've generated before. Okay, this should start triggering our MCP stuff now. Nice. So I've got this set up to auto approve. So we've listed our organization, our project. Now this is looking really similar to what we saw Cursor doing, or rather what I saw Cursor doing in a previous video that I filmed about this. This is great. It's even getting our anon key and updating it right here. That's exactly what I wanted it to do. This is pretty amazing. And it's creating our database now, a wallpapers table to store metadata. Right, so this is my thinking. If I was building this application, I'd have a Postgres database with a table in it for metadata, like what user and then what files that they've created. And then I would need to use storage, a storage feature like cloud storage or S3 from Amazon in order to actually store the binary representation of the images, like the images themselves to be stored in some sort of cloud storage system. And this browse action actually seems to be working. Look at this, it's moving the mouse around. That's nuts. It's like attempting to click things and watching for logs, I think. Oh man, that's crazy. Wow, it even did auth, apparently. Look at this. What the fuck? Jesus. What the fuck is going on? I love where we're at the point where these AI tools are just like spinning up web browsers inside of VS Code, and you know, it's like it's kind of surprising, but at the same time you're like, yeah, this is reasonable. It makes sense that some free plugin can just go ahead and do this. Well, I don't know, it seems to be hung up on this sign up phase, but let's just review. We've spent $1.75 where we filled up about half of our context window with Claude. And it's also keeping track of the actual token usage, including input tokens, output tokens, and cached tokens. So cache tokens refer to like when I ask a new question or when the agent triggers an additional query to Anthropic, then we'll be using cache tokens if we've previously sent that input into the model or if we've received it as output. I believe that's why the input tokens are so low, because actually you'd expect we've actually have a lot of input tokens because we're sending back the whole context. This whole context window keeps getting sent back. However, those count as cache tokens, I believe. Hey guys, just a quick interruption to talk about my course. Over on zazencodes.com, you'll find the AI Engineer Roadmap. This is a course I created this year for you to track your progress towards learning AI engineering. So starting from the very beginning, we could look at the What is AI Engineering section, and I've got a course welcome, and if you purchase this course, you can see the entire blog posts here, and you can just basically read through these, check them off, and I've included tons of interesting stuff, like I've tried to link off to important resources in the field, and just basically get you introduced to what AI engineering is all about. And then we go hard on this, and there's a lot to read and there's a lot to learn. You can hop over into our Discord and ask any questions you want, either before or after purchasing this course, and I hope to see you there. So now let's go to Supabase and see what we've got. So here's our app. It generated wallpaper generator application for us. And I'm going to go through a few different things. So here's our database for our wallpapers, including strange things they're tracking like color and blur. Okay. And we have authentication. It automatically built in some auth for us, it looks like. So here's the app that Cline built for us. And I'm just going to run this with Python. So we'll just start a HTTP server. And here is our application. So this is serving the index file, right? That's how this is working. If I have a look here. So there's an index.html. So this is the same folder that I'm running my Python server from. And so I'm serving anything in this folder, and it automatically looks for index.html and goes ahead and serves that. And this file here will import from this CSS and JavaScript files as needed in order to do this thing for us. Which looks pretty sweet. Blur, ooh, okay, this is pretty rough. Okay, so when I click save to gallery, it wants me to sign in now. That's pretty wild. Okay, and sign up. Sign up successful. Oh my gosh. Here it is, confirm your sign up. Oh my gosh. All right, this gives me an access token right here in localhost. I'm not really sure. Let's try and do some stuff. Save. Okay, now let's try and sign in. Yeah, wow, I got it. Cool. Okay, wallpaper saved. Obviously these dialogues aren't good, but it does look like it's working. So I do have a bucket here. Check this out. It automatically gave me a bucket and uploaded my image. That is totally wild. And if I go to authentication, this is the user I just created with fully functioning email authentication through Supabase. And here's my table, my wallpapers table for this image that we just created. That's crazy. I'm tracking weird things like styles, gradient, color 2. So there's a load function. Right, so because we're keeping track of all that stuff, I could go ahead and create a new wallpaper, save that, and then I could load back this one, and it brings back the information about it. Oh, okay, let's try and save that one. It's wild. And over here, here's our new entries just appeared, and our bucket has, okay, so this is like my user ID, and these are all my wallpapers. So I'm already thoroughly blown away by this, but I want to try and create some sort of edge function integration. I'm not sure if this is possible with the MCP server currently. And so we ended up costing a total of $2.23 to build this application. And I did this in like 20 minutes while filming. Add a feature that allows me to generate images using the ChatGPT API. I want to use the GPT 4.0 model, and I want to allow the user to input a prompt, which will get fed into the model in order to generate some image for a desktop wallpaper. I'm going to try that to get started. We're not indicating that we need edge functions used, even though this is something that would require edge functions. The reason it would require edge functions is because you're not going to be able to make an API request from the client. That would need to be done server side because OpenAI is on a different domain. All right, so it's focusing on the application for now. I'm a little worried. It seems to be trying to do this all server side. This, in a production environment, never expose your API in client-side code. Instead, use server-side API or edge functions. So that's a little bit frustrating. I was hoping it would do that for me. That really bothers me when models create something and then have this note that's like, oh, by the way, whatever I made you isn't actually useful for what you're trying to do. It's just a little demo thing. Oh, but here we go. So it's going to do a little bit of MCP stuff. That's cool. So it's applying migration to get our table schema in order. That's great. Okay, so this is completed. We're up to $3.30, and our context window is actually smaller now than it was a minute ago. But there's no edge functions. Like we saw, I didn't actually go ahead and create those. But if I look at my database, does it look different? I can't really tell. I can't really tell if the migration worked. Oh, I have prompt in here, so there's a new field. All right, so let's see if we can, well, let's first just test it out. I've already got this running locally. AI generated. Oh, wow. A zen looking mountainscape scene. Failed to generate, no API key. Let's see here. Okay, here's where I need my open API key. This is not like a secure thing to do. This is just in my project. I'll show you. It's just in this JavaScript file, which you would obviously imagine committing to version control. You should use an environment variable for this. Restart my server, and up here, I'll just refresh this page. Failed to generate image. Supported values are DALL-E 2 and DALL-E 3. So, model needs to be DALL-E. So if I go to OpenAI, okay, we're gonna use DALL-E 3, and let's see if we can get this working. Zen mountain drone shot, sunrise, most beautiful thing ever. Failed to load generated image. Access to image from origin has been blocked by cores. You see this? Do you see this? So this is part of the problem with making API calls server client side rather. Copy link. Is this my URL? Okay, so this is what it generated for me, which is really weird. But yeah, this is what my application just tried to generate, and it didn't quite work. Okay, let's try and just push it one more step and get this as an edge function. Even though it's not working, it's a CORS problem. Use edge functions to host this AI image generation functionality server side. This is a big step. I want to see if it can do this with MCP. Okay, we're starting by creating the edge function. This is the edge function it's come up with. In Dino language. Great. So I do expect this is a pretty good looking edge function, but I really want to see this hosted with the MCP server. I really want to see it actually set this up for me. So now we have this Supabase folder with functions, and we have this cores and index. The index is the generate image function, and now it's stripping that functionality out of the application. Okay, so we're not actually integrating here. So if I go over, refresh this and go to edge functions, I still don't see anything here. Deploy this on Supabase as an edge function. Oh damn, it's trying to use the Supabase CLI, which is cool. I'm gonna reject that. There we go. Okay, it's trying to use MCP now. Seems there's no direct way to deploy edge functions through the Supabase MCP tools, and now it's trying a different approach. So now what it's done is it's created a deploy script where it's going to try to use the Supabase CLI in order to deploy this edge function. Yeah, so it looks like there's no tools for this. Let me check that if I can see. So Supabase in here, I don't see any tools for doing this, so that's why we weren't able to do it. But let's go back to our chat, and this was our chat right here. Okay, I'm gonna try and run this deploy function. Let's just go for it. So it's not just gonna work. I'm gonna need to install Supabase, and then, you know what? Whatever. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Okay, I'm gonna install Supabase. Ugh, node, what? Global modules, not C, okay, I'm done. I'm throwing in the towel on this one. MCP couldn't really do it for us. If you've got this far in the video, I'd appreciate it if you give me a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this. These simple actions that you can take have a huge benefit for me here on YouTube trying to grow my channel. So when I was playing around with the Supabase MCP server for Cursor, I had a really amazing experience where it just automatically started using all of these MCP tools in order to build our project right into Supabase. I found Cline was a different experience where it did build me a really comprehensive project, and it did take in many Supabase considerations into account, but it just needed a little more pushing in order to actually trigger these tool calls. Of course, this will also highly depend on the model you're using. For example, I'm using Claude 3.7 Sonnet, which when it came out was really eager to use tool calls, and I know this caused some problems for IDEs like Windsurf users, where it started triggering way too many tool calls relative to Sonnet 3.5. So this isn't like a Cline thing, you know, it's not even really a Claude thing. These things it's a moving target, right? The demonstration I showed you is not going to work the same way in 6 months time from now. So lastly, as I mentioned in the introduction, I'm a NeoVim user and I've been looking into NeoVim MCP integrations. So when I have that video available, I will leave that on the screen for you right here. And if you have some time, and if you're interested in NeoVim, which you totally should be, then you can check that out. Thank you for watching, and namaste.